If you were a domestic terrorist organization that came under attack by not the CIA, FBI, or any alphabet agency, not even the local police, but by a 16-year-old girl LARPing as Uma Thurman, what would you do? In this video, we'll follow a smug 16-year-old girl's thirst for revenge against a domestic terrorist organization called the Noblemen, run by Stifler. See if we can make better decisions and fail miserably attempting to save everyone from their own idiocy. We start out following Becky, 2 years after cancer took her mother and 4 neo-Nazis invaded her family's lake house, then murdered her father, after which she, a 16-year-old girl, brutally killed them all with flamethrowers, impalement, boat propellers, and point-blank executions. Yeah, and I'll have you know I graduated at the top of my class in the Navy SEALs. This sounds like a nice fairy tale she made herself believe, when in actuality, she was in the fetal position covering her ears while her dad was getting Saving Private Ryan. Apparently, they were looking for a key that they had hidden underneath the house. The key she's now wearing around her neck. Maybe she did kill them all then. Alright, props. Whether she's wearing it for its sentimental value of loved ones lost to a senseless tragedy as a proverbial chip on her shoulder, or most likely because she's looking for that long-lost treasure chest filled with tens of thousands of gold teeth that one of those sneaky Operation Paperclip Germans brought over with him. You know some of them did. What, you think they just left them there for the Russian dogs? No. Well, judging by her habitual self-inflicted training from escaping numerous foster homes and ongoing DIY tactical training, my bet's on the Udengold. Admirable. Most 16-year-olds would be moping around, getting scared by their own shadow, blaming the neo-Nazis for ruining her life. I mean, they did, and she still blames them for it, as she should. But the difference is, she knows we can't change the past, can only channel our rage towards the future. That's why our protagonist heroine has conned and burglarized countless innocent, loving, would-be families, so she can stay off the grid and out of the system. Your dad was killed by neo-Nazi thugs, not Lee Harvey Oswald's handlers. Also, I don't even think it's possible to go off grid anymore. We're literally surveilling uncontacted tribes in the middle of the Amazon rainforest. You are running away from your foster parents. Besides, I don't think you need to go off grid to Nicolas Cage some 1940s dental gold. That's like a 6 p.m. to midnight hobby. If you really think the neo-Nazis were part of a larger group that is actively hunting you down for that key around your neck, then I guess it makes sense. As for the neo-Nazi, maybe a more sensible option would be to contact a locksmith instead of murdering a bunch of people. I know, but then the locksmith would report the dental gold. Well, you could just have him not open it. Or, since you're keen to murder people, he won't be suspecting a plastic bag over his head after he pops the lock. Bonus is, a lot less people are going to be looking into a heavy smoker 60-year-old locksmith's death as opposed to a young white girl from the burbs with a rich family. This really brings into question the whole invasion of Becky's family's lake house for a key. You guys really couldn't run a simple stakeout to wait until they were all gone? It's a lake house, which people often use for vacationing. Do I even need to continue here? Okay, back to Becky's training program. It consists of light jogging, nicking bark with a knife, rope climbing, and parkouring into her own traps. All of which is entirely useless for any actual self-defense situation. Jogging, hard to do when a 6-foot, 220-pound dude grabs you. Light slashing in close range. Hard to do when a 6-foot, 220-pound dude grabs you. Rope climbing. What is this? Tarzan? Hard to do when a 6-foot, 220-pound dude grabs you. Parkouring into her own traps. Nobody even needs to grab you for that one. Also, hard to do when a 6-foot, 220-pound dude just skeet shoots you out of the sky with a 12 gauge. After her PTSD-driven morning routine, she has breakfast with Elena, her more permanent foster mom, I guess. She hasn't run away from this one. On the contrary, she's lived here for a year while working working at the local diner.
Thanks, sweetheart.
Do you see my name tag?
Sorry?
What does it say?
Becky?
That's a level of customer service you can only get from a modern Western woman. You viciously berate an older gentleman for calling you sweetheart when thanking you. Sweetheart, a literal term of kindness, especially coming from an older generation where it was more commonly used and appreciated, which you should expect working at an old-time diner. Man's probably come here multiple times a week for decades, and you ran his ass out. Wasn't your whole thing about keeping a low profile, causing scenes over nothing, and constantly getting fired, causing you to move around more? Seems counterproductive. No? If I had to guess, the reason you're working at this diner is probably because it's one of the few that still pays in cash, much of which would come from tips if you'd give out more sugar with your pronouncements. Toots ain't getting that anymore, especially after not buttering the man's toast.
There's butter on the plate.
No worries, she didn't actually kill him. It was just a little psycho daydream. The day goes by. She clocks out, goes home, and plays Words with Friends with Elena, during which she overhears that the Noblemen, an extremist group, may be making an appearance in town tomorrow to protest the upcoming election. And since humans need food, they will also be making an appearance at the diner.
What he's saying is he'd love to fuck your mom.
Yes, I would love to f your mom.
Uh-oh. Okay, now that's disrespectful. This, though, she lets slide. Probably for the best. While washing cups, she overhears them arguing about the powder keg of a rally, which has the potential to become mostly peaceful, like last year, which resulted in a bunch of noblemen going to prison. This goes on for a good bit. All the while, the table is noticeably lacking in coffee, which they make the sweetheart behind the counter aware of. Pissed off about being prompted to do her actual job, she delivers the coffee straight to the dude's balls. You could have just spit in it. This was such an obvious attack. I'm almost surprised he didn't slap you back into the 50s to get some manners. Yeah, the dude wasn't particularly nice, I'll admit. He could have said, "Excuse me, missus, would you fancy delivering me a cup of coffee at your earliest convenience?" But come on, you left tap water on their table while you screwed off. Whatever, I'm not running an etiquette class. The real point is, you just unnecessarily provoked some good old boys, putting a target on your back when you're trying to lie low, if that is what you're trying to do, which is questionable. Given the lack of treasure hunting in your off time, it's beginning to look more like you're actually looking for a fight, which is questionable, given you're a small 16-year-old girl and he's a jacked 6 foot 220 pound dude. I think we went over all this before. I hope you at least developed the common sense to leave out the back door today. Nope. Looks like she should have spent less time on acrobatics and more time watching Nerd Explains. If she did, she wouldn't have led an obvious tale to her home. Unbelievable. You didn't notice the beat up redneck truck following your bicycle all the way back? Wow. Your first move is putting your key into a cookie jar and hiding that cookie jar under your bed. As if that's not an extremely obvious place to check. You have near infinite ways to hide it. Under a loose floorboard, inside a throw pillow's fluff, on top of a ceiling fan, under a toilet seat lid, in a vent, inside a cutout in a closet door, under a slit in a carpet. Anything is better than a jar under the bed, especially with how clean it is under there. Literally just wear it like a necklace, like you've been doing for years. If they find you, you probably won't have much use for the key afterward anyways, because you'll be dead, which is really the more important thing you should be focusing on, staying alive. That means not walking downstairs to meet the clear threat empty-handed. I, for one, am absolutely gobsmacked at this turn of events. You mean to tell me, after all that light cardio, Jane Statham over here got whacked this easily? Really testing my suspension of disbelief here. Becky launches a counterattack, headbutting Anthony in the face and commanding her dog, Diego, to attack, which goes about how you'd expect. You really shouldn't rely on your dog to fend off multiple armed attackers. Poor Diego. His dumbass mom provoked some unruly psychos at the diner, led them back to her home, and then pulled him out of his peaceful slumber to fight a bunch of dudes to the death because she was too stupid to just escape out the window with him like she'd bragged about doing numerous times in the past. In those fever dream flashbacks, she was straight up blasting dudes in the face with pistols. In that whole encounter when she killed those neo-Nazis, It should have occurred to her that, wow, guns make it so much easier to kill bigger people, and then kept it for a rainy day like today. Apparently, that didn't occur to her, which is why she's about to look like one of Captain America's old punching bags. Or that absolutely mangled UFC fighter chick that's been popping up in my shorts feed for some reason. The voice of reason in the polo then says, no joke, what happened? I thought we were just gonna ding-dong ditch her. What? Idiot. Elena interrupts their little revenge plot, pumping her shotgun to signify that she means business. Also, that she brought an unloaded gun to the fight. There's no way she can rack it fast enough to take all three, which is why she should step back a bit at least. At the same time, who wants to take the first hit? Better yet, go back in time, get an AR-15. I know they look like big, mean, scary black assault weapons of war that need only be found in the hands of soldiers or unscheduled visitors at schools, but that is exactly why you want it. It's effective at engaging multiple targets in rapid succession due to its ease of aiming, lightweight, minimal recoil, fully semi-automatic function, and 30 rounds at your disposal. That's 10 per jackass here. What I'm saying is, if I come downstairs and see this tussle and the gunman does not immediately drop the gun and start kissing his ass, I'm smoking him, and then the other two. And most likely, I'm not even waiting for that. They broke into your house, slugged your doggo, pointed a gun at your foster daughter's head, and refused to cooperate with hands not where I could see them. It's 3v1, which is too much information to process, especially for an elderly lady with bad eyesight and worse reflexes. You have every right to shoot first and ask questions later. Anthony calls the bluff on the old lady's reaction time. Oof. That's another notch on Becky's belt. At a certain point, you have to realize kind of the common denominator here and evaluate your actions. Just saying, bodies seem to be falling wherever she goes, and we're just getting warmed up. As for the nobleman, this is why you kidnap girls while they're riding back home on their bicycles, not after they go inside and lock the door. Then you gotta breach it quietly, which you didn't do. Deal with family members with guns, which you didn't do. Dogs, unknown building layouts, and home security systems. Duh. I honestly can't believe they didn't account for the fact that someone else had to be paying for this home and thus lives here, which you hadn't assessed or dealt with. 35-year-olds can't buy homes. And you think this girl, a diner waitress, who's certainly not collecting any fat tips, is just chilling here like Preston Waters? Fuck idiots. I will say, that was a great shot. I mean, can we be honest here? That was an excellent shot, drawing from felony carry with a shotgun aimed in his direction. You gotta respect it. Becky's having a hard time appreciating his marksmanship. Bum rushes Anthony and gets her face diverted into a door frame. The next morning, Becky wakes up, not dead for some reason. Why the cold-blooded murder? Left alive, the only witness that could identify them, I have no idea. All you had to do was put a trash bag over her head for a few minutes, bing bang boom, problem solved. The only thing that'd probably get you is blood on her hair. So, drag her ass to a sink, wash it with some bleach real quick, good to go. You might be questioning whether they have time for this. Well, indoor gunshots aren't as loud or distinct as you'd think. I've literally been in the other room of a house when a shotgun was fired, and it just sounds like a big thud. If you're a house over playing video games, you won't hear in the movie, nobody even showed up, which I'd say is pretty accurate. As far as the bullet being traced back to the perp's gun, the short answer is not gonna happen, especially if they don't have the gun, and especially if it's a stolen gun, which it most likely is. The bad news is Diego's missing, but depending how you look at it, that's good news. He probably bounced, thinking, fuck this, Becky's dumb ass is gonna get me killed.
Neo-Nazis killed my dad. And now, Elena's gone.
Okay. So, you're not gonna take any responsibility for this at all? Not even a little bit? Really? Really? No matter. This was what Becky wanted all along. A fight to her death. That's why she's in the shed piling gardening equipment into a box, pocketing bear mace, snagging Werner von Braun's master key from her cookie jar. Oh, an eyeliner and nail polish. Can't forget that. So she packs up her stuff and heads to the first of the two Daryls in this town. Oh yeah, Daryl is the name that the thugs dropped at the diner, by the way. The first is an old lady. She only realizes this after walking up to the house and knocking on the door. Great strategy. What were you planning on doing if the door opened and it was the three thugs aiming a gun at your head? Right. Didn't think that far, did ya? The second is the nobleman headquarters, as evidenced by the flag out front. Inside is a bunch of boring conversations with their leader, Stifler. They've got Becky's dog all caged up. Why? To torment Becky, I guess? Look, you're all obviously trying to make a good impression with the king, Daryl, leader of the extremist resistance or something. So maybe leaving Becky alive and stealing her dog wasn't a good idea, considering you could very well be bringing heat to your cause. Have we not learned anything from John Wick? I'm not saying Becky's gonna Jane Wick them, but she could easily have reported the murder, provided DNA evidence, names, descriptions, and a lead on where they might be, which is here, as evidenced by the nobleman flag. Lucky for them, she's taking matters into her own hands, sneaking around the house perimeter in bright red. Lucky for her, the Stiffmeister conveniently left out video game blueprints to his assassination plot on Senator Hernandez. Becky starts snapping pics when Daryl leads Sean into his office, forcing Becky to hide under the couch, a completely horrible spot given the open window that you open, and utterly clear view of you in your stupid bright red uniform by anyone entering the room. While the mini ninja is under the couch, Daryl tells Sean an enlightening rhetorical story about how back in Iraq he had to choke a kid to death who was about to blow their op.
You're not a weak link, are you?
Cool story, bro. But if you're so skeptical about Sean's loyalty, why did you show him the nobleman blacklist with names, addresses, and identifying information of all the key disciples? Pretty stupid if you ask me. You can tell your favorite story about murder brown kids in Iraq to intimidate Polo without exposing all the members of your organization or your plans. Sean answers with the technically correct answer, no, then excuses himself abruptly. At this point, as Sean, you have to know you're most likely gonna be taken out back in the near future, unless you can sack up and prove yourself by killing a kid too, or something. When Daryl drags Becky out by her hair like War Daddy did to that SS guy, you better not wimp out like Norman unless you want to join her in the dirt. Speaking of weak links, Daryl also conveniently left his laptop open, unlocked with the super secret blacklist in full view. Bro, your OPSEC is trash. Why are you leaving critical information out all over the place? How hard is it to put it in a safe or close your password protected laptop and pocket the thumb drive? I'll help you. It's not hard. Naturally, Becky pockets the thumb drive, bolts to their shed, and just stumbles upon a gold mine of guns, gear, and explosives that apparently weak link didn't lock up at all either. Didn't even shut the door. What an insane bout of sheer luck. Go Becky! Now, does she know how to use any of it? No. Sure, in her PTSD cope-induced false memories, she heroically mowed down a bunch of neo-Nazis. As far as we've seen, she has zero training with firearms. I'm sure that's not gonna stop her from hip-firing a belt-fed machine gun with plot accuracy though. Firearms training aside, Becky has shown a fatal lack of common sense, basic self-awareness, or any real tactical knowledge. She's bloodthirsty, arrogant, unprepared, untrained, and ignorant to the fact that she's a child playing out some made-up Kill Bill fantasy. The only reason she's still alive right now is pure luck. Her plan, ding dong ditch them, leave a phone ringing at their doorstep with her name on the caller ID, and destroying any element of surprise that she had. Smart.
There once was a little girl who had a little...
Okay, let me stop you right there, Mrs. Punisher. The one batch, two batch penny and dime shit was intimidating because it was coming from a highly trained, highly experienced, brutal ex-Special Forces pipe-swinging badass. You are not. It sends them all into a tizzy. Daryl telling Anthony to go get the girl. Exactly how Becky planned. She wanted Anthony to follow her along into the forest, with him at her back, just feet away, knowing that despite having every reason to, he won't just shoot her in the back of the head, because then his psycho friend and child murder leader will hear it. Well, that was stupid. How did you drop your gun? Whatever. This hole really shouldn't be that hard to jump and claw your way out of. Then you can strangle her to death. On Becky's side, she's lucky he actually plunged in face first. He easily could have skidded a foot and fallen backwards, or turned around in time to catch the edge Luke Skywalker style, then shot her immediately. Instead, somehow, Becky was able to bind him, put a grenade in his mouth, tape it shut, lead him to the house, then string the nade to the door. Even if he was held at gunpoint, I don't see how anyone would agree to any of this. This time, her ding-dong ditch was a little more explosive. This sends everyone into another tizzy, specifically Sean. Sean picks this moment when Daryl is holding them at gunpoint to say, "Fuck this, fuck the nobleman, and fuck you, you psycho mother." Yeah, that wasn't smart. Becky could simply leave an anonymous tip to the police and be done, assuming she used a burner phone to make the calls to the nobleman, which I don't think she did, judging by her yellow iPhone. But you know she's too bloodthirsty for that. Daryl and Becky get on a call. Daryl threatens to shoot her dog if she doesn't fuck off. Becky says that if they do, she'll send his documented plans to attack Town Hall to the cops. It's a stalemate. The hick tries to end it by grabbing a shotgun and standing completely in the open on the dock with his thumbs up his ass. Right after Daryl rips it out of his face, he hastily charges back out to kill her. Instead of physically stopping Twig himself, Daryl walks back inside and yells at the dude whimpering in the corner to stop him, which is dumb, because Twig is far more likely to settle down if it's coming from Daryl than some punk he doesn't know or respect. It's also dumb because in the minutes Twig's been running after Becky, Twig could have easily already killed her. Instead of going after him, DJ just bolts in his truck. Now that, I would say, is a smart move. Becky nearly gets blown away twice. Again, lucking out that Twiggy is too stupid to 1. Pump the shotgun before needing to fire, and 2. Not announce himself before needing to fire. I don't understand. Was this your plan, Becky? It really looks like you're just reacting and trying to improvise. Maybe don't use yourself as bait if you don't actually have a plan. Oh wow, look at that totally unnecessary combat roll. What a badass. She nearly gets blown away a third time while in the fetal position. It's okay though, she's got him right where she wants him. Could have just tossed another frag grenade. If Twig had any semblance of intelligence, he'd have simply kicked it back towards her and regressed through the door he just closed. Waited outside for her to come out eventually, then gunned her down. This guy is certifiably stupid. Just standing right on top of the grenade, billowing out gas, sucking air in with each hillbilly war cry as he empties his shotgun blindly. After sucking in enough gas, he's reduced to his knees, pleading for mercy, begging to let him raise his son to be a good man, unlike him. She asks him what his son's name is. His response:
"It's Adolf."
Really? Dude, why on earth would you pick now to tell the truth? Well, again, it goes about how you'd expect. Her emotional bloodthirst for vengeance blinded her to the catastrophic tactical mistake of forgetting that there's at least 2 other killers coming after her, and she's been making her location pretty well known. Stiff hits her with the most powerful trank gun on the market. Becky wakes up strapped to a chair in front of Daryl. All things considered, he's pretty chill. He goes through her stuff, pulling out that key. Funny enough, in the few minutes it's been in his possession, he figured out how to unlock it, revealing coordinates inscribed on it. Becky had that, what, 2 to 3 years? In another surprise event, the old lady on the O2 named Daryl she met at the first house, yeah, that's actually the founder of the Nobleman and Daryl's mother. It's another stalemate. Becky knows where their only super important thumb drive is. If she tells them, they kill her. If she doesn't tell them, they torture and kill her dog. Then torture her until she's so desperate for them to mercy kill her that she voluntarily coughs up the correct answer. There's a reason torture's been used for thousands of years. It works. Your best option is to make it easy on yourself. No point in getting your eyes gouged out and skin flayed off just to give up the answer anyways. On second thought, that doesn't really sound like a stalemate. That sounds like pure hell. Becky's answer. Oh. that's not gonna go well. I'd have gone for a more, I'm just a little girl who's lost it all, in hopes that they don't f me up as bad before they kill me. Lucky for Becky, again, Daryl didn't tie her up properly. Bro, you had all night. I could have done a better job with the roll of duct tape that she would not be getting out of. Also, that's why you tie her hands separately to the arms of the chairs in plain view. None of this loose knot behind her back out of view bullshit. Just all around egregious. And in no way should Becky have been able to get free in any realistic encounter. Oh, fuck off. Daryl, you don't need 2020 to thumb her eyes and strangle her to death. This is your thing. You're really gonna go to the little girl's room instead of subduing Becky? You just left your frail ass mom to fight on her own? God damn. Mama Daryl pulls the gun on Becky, but takes her eyes off the target to put a hole in the pooch. What the f is that gonna accomplish? You shooting her dog won't make her fess up any better than killing her. What you need to do right now is subdue Becky. Keep the gun on her until your son finishes changing his tampons. Becky then uses her absurdly scarce available time while Daryl's washing up to talk with her dog, not pick up the gun or knife and run out of the house, leaving said dog in the house with the pissed off guy with the gun, instead of blasting him when he opens the bathroom door. Brace yourselves, it gets dumber. Daryl chases Becky into the woods, forgoing all of his special forces training, firing wildly and inaccurately with his double stack pistol that he apparently only loaded 6 rounds into. It runs empty. He stops to look at it, then tosses it. It's okay though. He catches up to her anyways, because she clearly stopped and let him, with a tree right next to her that has a clear red smiley face marking she designated. This doesn't set off any battle instincts in his head. Instead of simply shooting her with the loaded gun he should have still had, he steps forward confidently. I think it's that smug look on her face. Like she's not an idiot that has only survived on sheer luck. After watching him die slowly, she pockets the key, grabs Diego, and what the fuck? The mom is still alive? Holy shit, she is tough. I'll give her that. Problem is, that knife in her head's really messing with her aim. Couple days later, Becky's sitting in some CIA office getting a job offer to hunt down, and I quote, the most dangerous terrorist organization in America. Doing what they've been unable to do for years. Let me translate that. What they have been legally unable to do until they found a naive loose cannon to do their dirty work that they could pay under the table for deniability and kill off when they need to tie up loose ends. At least, I sincerely hope that's the case, and they don't truly think she's an employable member of the CIA's counterterrorism unit. Becky accepts in her signature, I'm a rebel bad bitch way. Fine, now where's my dog? I, for one, cannot wait for her luck to run out. I got nothing, except why did she give up that key? I can see handing the thumb drive over, but the key? Shove it up your ass or something so the CIA doesn't steal the loot. Oh well, guess she doesn't need it, considering her new high-paying job as Jason Bourne's replacement. Daryl and the nobleman had so many chances to put Becky into an early grave, it was downright embarrassing that she survived. And for that reason, I think the wrath of Becky was beaten.